Hello, everybody. My name is Nathan Yost. I'm from Morgantown, West Virginia. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about where I've been in my life, where I am now, and what's brought me to this point of where I'm at now. I won't get into a whole lot about my childhood, but there was a lot of darkness in my childhood. Things with babysitters, things things that were hard for me to deal with as a child, and it followed me into school, it followed me into relationships, it followed me into many things that I did, and fear overcame. I mean, there were things that haven't even talked to my folks about that I held on to for so many years that just changed the direction for which I would live my life. By the time I was 11 years old, I started running. I started running from everything. I tried to mask every feeling, every emotion, every fear that I had. I tried to mask with drugs, and I thought that those were the things that the drugs were the things that were giving me confidence, giving me strength, giving me the ability to be who I thought I was. And the thing was, I didn't even know who I was. I had no clue. I was a chameleon. I could change for no matter what group of people I was around. I could change to fit in. I got into people pleasing and just didn't know how to be myself. I continued to run, and by the time I was 14, I got into some legal trouble, and I was court ordered to my first rehabilitation center. I had a choice to either go to a detention center for 6 months, or I could go to rehab for 46 days, which I gladly chose to rehab. And even then, I didn't realize that was going to be a start of a long cycle of my entire life. I got out and I continued to run. And before long, I was into so many different rehabilitation centers, and I was in and out of jail, in and out of prison, and didn't know how to keep my life straight. And that darkness that I was living in became comfortable to me. I was afraid of people. I was afraid to make relationships with people. I didn't trust anybody. I started preparing myself for the worst in every situation that came to me. I was always prepared for the worst. And it's one thing to be in prison with like a physical prison, but being in prison to yourself is probably the hardest thing that I've ever had to try to overcome. All of my false beliefs, false realities, everything I did was based on a world full of drug-induced reality. No matter what cards I'm dealt in life, at some point I had to get to the point where I had to quit blaming the rest of the world for my problems and start seeking solutions. I couldn't do that myself. I was literally worshiping the devil through the eye of a needle, and I began to hate life. I didn't want to live. I was stuck in darkness. The things that the drugs gave me in the beginning, the confidence, the courage, the ability to think I was being myself, were the things that, part of the things that the drugs robbed me of in the end. It took everything from me, the materialistic things, the things that I felt inside, and all of the emotions that I struggled with were tenfold, even when the drugs weren't there. The anger issues, the jealousy issues, all of these things that I had no idea how to deal with as a person. This time around was the first time in my life, back in March, was the first time in my life that I made a decision to step out of my own shoes and truly let God direct me into a different direction. My life has been full of pain. I've lost everybody that I've gotten close to, whether it be to murder, to drug addiction, to overdoses. I've overdosed so many times. I can't even tell you how many times I woke up in the hospital, woke up in an ambulance, and shouldn't be here, and just didn't want to live anymore. I didn't want to be stuck in that darkness that I couldn't get out. And for whatever reason, even then, God had His hand on my back and has brought me through so many things, so many trials, so many tribulations. And even though I didn't know it then, I know it now, because my cousin continued to pray for me, along with all these people that I had no clue who they were, until I one day jumped on a bus and went to Mobile, Alabama, 3 days on a Greyhound, and decided that I was going to get clean and try to follow the Word of God and the works of God. And still, I had no idea what I was getting into. On March 26th, I recommitted my life to Christ and accepted Jesus Christ into my heart. And I ended up completing the program at the Mission of Hope. I graduated, and I stuck around for a little bit longer until God led me to Anchor Ministries, which I can truly say has been nothing but blessing after blessing. I've been able to learn how to not only deal with all of the emotions that I feel and all of the storms that still come into my life today, because even getting the drugs out of my system, the drugs were just a symptom of my problems. Getting all that stuff out of my system, and realizing once I stopped running, the problem's still there because I'm the problem. I can finally put my track shoes away, put them in the closet, and let God step into my shoes and guide me to be able to deal with those things. And only through the blood of Christ am I able to do that. And just to be able to know that all of the stuff that I've put people through, to be able to be forgiven for that and to learn that love of Christ is just a blessing on its own. Coming to Anchor Ministries has been an opportunity to where I get to take everything I learned, the stuff that I learned in His Word, and be able to experience and live it. We get to go things, we get to go witness to people, and that's where my passion is. I've been on those streets, so when I see that desperation in people's eyes, my passion is to be able to show them and be a light, so they can see that not only am I still that person, now I don't have the drugs in me, and now I have Jesus in me, and that through the transformation of Him, my life has changed. I've been able to forgive all the people in my past, and I pray every day that they can forgive me as well for all the stuff that I put them through. Also, like that's the ultimate goal for me, is to imitate Christ and to try to show that same love everywhere I go, even with the people I struggle the most with. Anybody can be tough and just be rude and obnoxious, and anybody can show hate and just think of some kind of tough guy, but the true test is doing the right thing, and the true strength and toughness for me today is to be able to go up to someone that I may not agree with all the time or have, and just be able to hug them and truly tell them that, I love you and I'm going to pray for you, and because that's where true strength comes from, and I don't get that from Nathan, I get that from Jesus, and to be able to do those things is a blessing on its own. Those are things that God has directed me to Anchor Ministries. I get to learn these things here. Midway Baptist Church has been a blessing to me. It's a church family that it just feels good, and it feels like home, and I do have that peace and that comfort. So many people think, like I've heard so many, well, at least you never did this, at least you never did that. Well, for me, like it's easy for me to look at everybody as the same, because I don't look at all the materialistic things and I was a liar, a cheat, a thief, all of these things that the darkness and the drug addiction took me to. But those things, like the materialistic things, I can give back at any moment. It's the things that, all the nights of worry, when I stole somebody's joy, when I stole somebody's peace, when I stole somebody's comfort, because they were either up worrying all night or they lost a whole night of sleep because they were worrying all night for whatever I was doing or whatever I was putting them through, or completely murdering people spiritually. Those are things that's like I can't give back. I can't give back that stuff. But through Christ, I can change the way I'm living my life today, and I can truly try to be a blessing and try to be a light, and I just get to try to give that back to somebody else, because that's a gift that was truly given to me, freely. Like, I take all this stuff seriously and take it to heart, like, because I'll never forget that pain. I'll never forget that darkness, because that's what's um, that's part of the fuel that drives me to keep seeking the love of Christ, and to keep seeking um, God's word, so I can be a difference today. And they say the only way the world changes is if it starts right here within me. It starts with this one person making a change, and be the change you want to see in the rest of the world. And I want to be of goodness and not of darkness. I could go on and on and on about the true blessings of Christ, and the things that He has done for me. I've got a great relationship with my family. I love my family to death. I've got a great relationship with my children. I've got people that I work for who they're second family to me as well. They treat me like family, and they're godly people, and we get to talk about Christ. We get to fellowship together. The brothers here at the Anchor, it's been just been a wonderful thing all the way around, and to be able to seek Christ together and go out and try to help people, because that's where it's at. I'm a selfish person as an addict, a very selfish person, and I've got to look at every little thing today. The way I pray, because for me, it's mostly important for me to build that intimate relationship with God, have my own personal time, even all throughout the day, to talk with God, to talk out loud with God, have my place to talk out loud with God. And even when I pray, I need to look at the way I use my language and everything. Like, for me, and this is just for me, when I pray, I don't ask God to give me anything. I don't ask for God to give me strength or to give me courage, because for me, that is one of the selfish things that I always did when I was out there in active addiction. I wanted everybody to give me. So when I pray today, it's Jesus, be my strength. God, be my strength. Be my courage. And because of that, like, I get those blessings, and God works through my life, and He works through other people, and I get to walk with my head held high today. I don't have to always be looking down and be ashamed of where I've come from, because I'm trying to work toward giving other people hope of where they can come from and where we can be going. And for me, I just want to go to heaven. I want to be and I'm going to heaven. And I can say that, and I can walk with confidence, because I know that. I appreciate you letting me share.